you so much for coming to view this next house. Now, the last house we saw was fine, but this one is the real diamond because it has 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It's a 2-2. And me, Mark Rogers, real estate broker, I really need to sell this house to you because I'm paid on commission. So if you don't buy this house, I'm not going to make any money because I don't make an annual salary. So what I really need you to do is slap down the checkbook and write a check for this house because it's the best house you're ever going to sell. No, don't walk away. Don't walk away. I'm paid on commission. Buy the house. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. Please. Please. Oh, thank goodness you came back. I'm so glad you reconsidered buying that house. I mean, one, it's a beautiful property, but hopefully you can have a little bit of sympathy for me because it's hard being a real estate broker. You see, as a real estate broker, I don't actually make any base salary. So if I don't sell any houses in the year, I'll literally make $0. I won't have any money to support me. And that's what commission is. Commission is typically where instead of getting paid a base salary to go to work, you are incentivized to sell because the more you sell, the more money you make in the year. So if you're really good at sales, and people will tell you this, they're like, you could sell a ketchup popsicle in the middle of summer to a woman wearing white gloves. That's one of my favorite sales sayings, right? That means you're really good at selling, right? Because she doesn't want to get frozen popsicle ketchup juice all over her white gloves, but if you can sell it to her, that means you're really good at selling. You're a very good communicator. If that's you, then you might want to have a job that pays commission because you'll be selling so much, you'll be making so much. But how does it work? Well, specifically with a real estate agent, the total price of the house, there's a 6% fee. And the seller's agent, so the people who are living in the house currently, the seller's agent makes 3%, and the buyer's agent makes 3%. So they split that 6% fee right down the middle. Each broker or salesperson gets 3% each. So when I was trying to sell you that house, right, you were the one who was wanting to buy it. If you ended up buying the house, I would have gotten 3% of that total transaction. So how much does this mean in the real world? Let's take a look at this table. So I have sales of houses in thousands of dollars, and then the amount of commission I can make in thousands of dollars. So if I, during the year, sell one $100,000 house, only one house for $100,000, I'll make 3% of that. 3% of 100 is $3,000. All right, so you can see that that's really rough. If you're making $3,000 a year, that is a really tough lifestyle. I mean, I just don't think that that's sustainable. So you're going to need to sell more than that. But for every $100,000 you sell, you'll get another 3%. All right, so if you're for $200,000 at 3%, you're going to make $6,000. $300,000, you'll make $9,000 in commission, and so on. So it goes up. For every $100,000, you make another $3,000 in commission. So we keep going up, going on up, selling houses. Okay, so we finally get to 1,000, right? But you have to remember that this is in thousands already. So what is 1,000 thousands? Well, that's 1,000,000, because after 900,000, you'd have 1,000,000. So what's really interesting here is that when you sell $1 million worth of houses, you'd think that you were like super successful as a real estate broker. But in fact, that only yields you $30,000 in the year, which is definitely, enough to sustain a lifestyle. But it's not anything where you're going to be, eating at fancy restaurants and flying around the world on vacation. So to be a real estate broker, it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. You need to be selling millions of dollars worth of properties in order to sustain your lifestyle. Because just $1 million gets you $30,000. You could think if that's $1 million for $30,000, $2 million would make you $60,000. And now we're talking about making a life-sustaining amount of cash. So if you want to be a real estate broker, you need to be thinking in the millions of housing sales. Let's graph this so we can see how it grows over time. So for 100,000, you would make $3,000 in commission. So sales is driving the commission. So sales is the independent variable, and commission depends, or is the Y variable against this X variable. If you sell nothing, you make nothing, right? So that's why it's 0, 0. We get $100,000 in sales, gives us $3,000 in commission, and so on. So I'm just going to plot the points from the table. And you're going to see that we have another linear function, because for every $100,000 in sales, we make another $3,000 in commission. So we go up 3,000 over 100,000. Up 3,000, another 100,000. 900 was 27,000. And then finally, $1 million, you're able to make $30,000 a year. Okay, so if we graph this, okay. All right, so we have our graph here, and there isn't really a way to make it steeper. Like, you can't make a higher percentage of commission, because when you're a real estate broker, again, it's a pretty standard transaction. You'll make 3% of the house, and then the seller's agent, you split that 6%, they get the other 3%. So you can't really make this steeper. The only way to make more money is to sell more houses. Again, when we're thinking about slope, we're thinking about rise over run, or the change in the Y variables, the Y values divided by the change in X values. So slope is given by the letter M. So we rise $3,000 and we run 100,000. Those are the differences between our the differences between our X values is always 100,000, and the difference between our Y values is always 3,000. So our slope in this case is 3/100ths. Wow. You can tell that slope, it's pretty flat, right? Only going up 3 units for every 100,000 units. That's not that much. So that again illustrates how challenging it is to be a real estate broker. Because when you first start out, nobody's going to know your name, right? You have to go out there and you have to find new clients, and that's part of the challenge of being a beginning broker, is that for the first few years, your sales might be really small because you just don't know enough people. Your name isn't out there. So a lot of your job is to advertise yourself. Always be handing out your business cards, talking to people who own homes or might want to buy homes, because that's your bread and butter. That's how you make money. And that's also how commission works, where you get a percentage as your salary, as your pay for how much you sell. Thank you again for buying that house and supporting Mark Rogers, real estate broker. Have a great day.